Booked, the bookstore education podcast brought to you by the American Booksellers Association. This episode is part of our Bookseller Lightning Talk series, in which booksellers present short talks on tech tools, organizational strategies, communication methods, or innovations they've made in their stores.
All right, and now I'm going to throw it over to Flannery from Bluebird & Co.
How's that?
Beautiful.
Okay, so I'm here to talk about building community and how we do that at Bluebird & Co. I made this presentation so that it would be easy for people to reference after the fact. So, kind of geeking out here on the table of contents, but we do this in two major ways that I'll tell you about: building relationships and then community partnerships and events. And so my name is Flannery. I'm one of the owners of Bluebird & Co. We are a shared retail space. So we are part books, part clothing, and then we have a lot of sidelines. Our mission is really to create a welcoming community space where people feel like they can come in and they're embraced. And I would say this talk comes at a really good time, because I will say last Wednesday, we had so many people come in the store just to be there. Even if they didn't buy anything, I had so many people who just came in to be. And that kind of said to me, okay, we're doing it. We're doing what we set out to do. But we are a small shop located outside of Charlottesville, which is home to the University of Virginia. We have a lot of small family, or young families, I should say, that are coming down from bigger cities like DC, New York, or they're coming for quality of life, or they're coming because they're an alumni of UVA and they want to live close by. When we first started out, it kind of became apparent that our bread and butter really was going to be moms and children. And I was really resistant to that because I wanted to make sure anybody who walks in finds something. And I'll talk about that in a minute, but we really do cater to young families. I started as a mobile bookshop, and the reason that I bring this up is because I did that shortly, maybe 9 to 12 months after the pandemic was underway. And so I built a client base before we opened the brick and mortar, which was really crucial for us. And I did a lot of that through porch drops. I delivered a lot of books. And that just helped me get to know a lot of people. And then I joined forces with my business partner who has experience in the clothing retail side of things, and we opened up the brick and mortar. So the first thing I want to talk about is the building relationships piece. We always joke that we're the Cheers of retail. We like for when people to come into the store that you feel like you're our friend, that we remember something about you. We remember the last book you read, or we remember a trip that you took and we ask you how that went. For us, it's really critical that we nurture relationships over the purchases. So if we have people come in like last Wednesday and they don't make any purchases, but they're there to be, we're okay with that, because we see that as like a long-term investment in what we're doing in our community. And people can have a positive association with being in the store, that's really important for us. And it's very important for us that young families feel like they can be in this space and they're not disrupting anything. I am a mom of 4, and I'm keenly aware of what it felt like when my kids were little, that you were like, no, stop, don't touch. And we just want people to come in and feel like they can relax and be with their family. And then community support is very, very important to us. So we engage with people in our community, and I'm going to give you some examples. But small businesses, local makers, any kind of organizations and groups. And we also host support groups for a lot of high need communities. So we have and I always joke that if I need the support group, I just start it. But, I have 2 kids who identify as queer. So we have a parenting support group there, which I hate to call a support group, but we provide support to one another. We have a support group for parents of neurodivergent children. And so engaging the community in those ways are important to us. So some examples of how we engage the people in our town: we do a lot of town-centric merchandise, which I'm sure you all do too. we use customers and employees to be the models anytime we're doing any kind of photo shoot. People love to feel special. And when we say, hey, will you model for us? We'll give you a gift card. They're more often than not, they're thrilled to do it. And we like to shoot any content at local landmarks. You can see this picture of the Crozet trolley. That's a local institution. They take the wine drinkers around to breweries and vineyards on the weekend. And so anytime we can get that kind of local feel to our content, that again just encourages the community in our town. And then an example of how we've engaged with some of our makers and artisans locally. We have a woman named Stephanie. Her business is called Old Dominion Candle. And I started working with her back when I had the trailer, and we developed a custom scent together so that anytime I parked and I burned the custom scent, it was a recognizable scent when you walked into the trailer. And now it's like our best-selling candle by a mile. And so I kind of drive her crazy because I'm always like, Stephanie, I have an idea. And she's like, no more ideas. But like last Christmas, she has this one candle called Christmas Hearth, and it's delicious. And I said to her, I was like, what if we just put a Christmas and Crozet label on it? Nobody will be the wiser. And they'll just think like, oh, it's a local Christmas. We must have sold 500. I mean, I was reaching out to her every other day, like, make more candles. It was kind of funny, but those are some ways we engage the community. Some other ways that we engage, especially with families, once a month, we have story time with the local volunteer fire department, and they send a different firefighter every month. And they bring you can see he's in his outfit, they bring equipment, and families love that. And a lot of what we do with engaging the community is kind of like that. You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. This is a way for them to get the word out about what they're doing, possibly recruit more volunteer firefighters. And we also sell their T-shirts. Our story time is led by a local preschool director. Again, that gets the word out for her preschool and potential students. And it also takes the load off my back to do it, but I like to sub here and there. We always engage with the babies and kids, no matter who, is working. This is a perfect, opportunity. Like a kid walks in and, they love dinosaurs, and you can be like, hey, George, I got a new dinosaur book in. You have to read it. And I'll take them to the back and we'll read the book together. And again, I always focus on spreading the love of the book and the reading. And if the mom doesn't buy the book, it's totally fine. Because again, it's positive association with the store, it's creating relationships, it's building relationships, and that kid's going to want to come back. And that mom will trust us when she needs gifts for her children. Again, creating a space where families are encouraged to hang out. Very rarely do we have families abuse, like tear apart a book or, break a toy or whatever it is. When it does happen, we usually just view that as the cost of doing business, the cost of people feeling comfortable in the space. It's never been abused to the point that we can't take that approach anymore. I don't know if we're fortunate. You all will have to tell me what it's like in your stores. But for the most part, if we lose a book here or there, it's okay. One of my favorite things this time of year is we have the kids put their letters into Santa and we mail responses to their homes, which they think is the coolest thing. And, again, positive association with the store. Okay, community partnerships and events. We love to engage local brick and mortars and local artisans. I touched on that a little bit. We love to support local authors, and we try to make authors feel like our job is to support them. So in whatever way that looks. And so we really try. And, we love to do events, but we want it to be in what way works for them. Is it good for us to be on your tour? If not, that's okay. We'll still sell your books. But basically just fostering a sense of we're here to support you. You can see that's Hannah Barnaby with her new book, The Pumpkin Seed Secret, which is so good. If you guys don't have it, you should. We did an event with her cookie decorating. So we had Jacqueline's Cookies, a local baker, create pumpkin cookie kits. And so they had story time, and then the kids got to decorate pumpkin cookies. And that took place at Mud House, one of our coffee shops. You can see bottom left. So that was like a way to engage the local author, engage a local business, and a local artisan. This on-topic events with local professionals. So this was an event we did called Building Empathy. And the whole idea of that was, can we build empathy through fiction, which is one of my passion projects in the store. And so we had a lot of authors there who write fiction that does that. And I asked a local UVA professor to be the moderator. Her background is in refugee work, but her research has taken a turn towards this concept of building empathy in fiction. And so this was a way to highlight a member of our community and show our community how awesome she is. You may not know she lives here, but she's this kick-ass woman who has 20 years of experience with the UN doing refugee work. And again, we held it at Mud House, the coffee shop. We love to engage local bookstagrammers. I'll have them as moderators. And I have another event I'm going to tell you about in the next slide. And then bottom right, this is an event we did with Joe Piazza and Christine Pride. And we have the woman in the middle, Erin. She has a wine company called Dogwood and Thistle. They're trying to break into the competitive market here. And she's a big reader. So she'll come and pour wine for a lot of our book events. So that's another way to engage and help support another local business. Okay, so here are some examples of some of the events that we've done recently. We just wrapped up our first annual Crozet Book Fest, which was amazing. And it was a walkable book fest one day. All the events were held at different businesses in Crozet. And so the idea was you could walk around from event to event. We engaged a lot of other businesses, whether it was to, donate for the author gifts, donate to the raffle. We had a green room for the authors. So we had some businesses like Braised Craze provide food for the authors. And that was just a wonderful way to engage the community, and people really came out for that. The holiday market is our signature event, also walkable. We have this year, I think we have 75 artisans and makers that, again, we place at different businesses in the community. It's one day, and the whole idea is keep your holiday shopping dollars local, spend the day in Crozet. And it's just this magical experience that people are it feels like a Lifetime movie, Lifetime Christmas movie come to life. But, it's a platform for all these artisans to sell their wares and for all these small businesses to increase their profits on that day, and then hopefully awareness of their businesses. And that's always so much fun. I told you about Story Time with a Firefighter. You can see him in action down there. A fun event we did this summer was called Local Author and Bookstagrammer Meetup. And again, you scratch mine, I'll scratch yours. This was a way for bookstagrammers and authors to meet and see how they could collab, but it was really just a social event. We did have the authors give a pitch of their books, but it was a really great way because bookstagrammers right now are kind of crucial to what we're doing. So it was a way to, again, support authors, get more eyes on their work, especially because we work with a lot of debut writers. Bookish Trivia Night, that was at a local brewery, and it was an author event that we made a Bookish Trivia Night. We try, and with our author events, we're always trying to get more people there. I'm sure you guys feel the same way. It's so stressful getting bodies in the seats. So we're always trying to be creative with how we do it. And also trying to educate our community that book events are not this stuffy niche events, right? Really fun, and meeting authors is really fun. And so we try and present it in a way that maybe we'll get people who wouldn't otherwise come. Okay, so last night, actually, we did a pelvic floor workshop. We hosted I didn't do the presentation, don't worry. We had a local physical therapist come in because we have a lot of young women and a lot of retired people who struggle with these issues. And, our mission being, what does our community need? What can we help them get? And also it was a passion project of mine. So there's that. But another way to reach members of the community, even when it's not book centric, it's it's developing in that sense of community. We had a great Speakeasy PFLAG fundraiser this summer for Catherine Shellman's launch party, and that was a great success. Okay, I think that was it. I hope I stayed under 10 minutes. Does anybody have any questions?
Hey, Flannery,
Yeah.
I will ask you the same question you asked me, which is, what if I'm kind of terrified of all of this? How would you recommend I start approaching this? Because my biggest fear in life is throwing a party that nobody shows up to, and it's just me and the author. I'm like, sorry for the empty seats, but at least we get all the snacks.
It's terrifying. We always joke, like, I don't sleep because I'm always terrified by it. But I think that what we try to do with our customers, and what I would encourage you, if you're terrified, just treat this like your friends, right? Like, I try, what would you want to go to? And it's going to present in a way that reflects that passion or interest for you. Who are your friends in the community or the businesses that you want to support because you really like them? What's that? You said you drink $10 million worth of coffee every year. What's your favorite coffee shop, and how can you engage with them? That cross promoting also takes weight off your back, because it's not just you marketing it. Now you've engaged a second party who's going to help you market it. And anytime we do like the holiday market, anytime we engage artisans that are doing these things, we always provide the social graphics, but then we say, okay, this is a group marketing lift. That's like our tagline for everybody. The more people, the more you post about it, the more your friends are going to share it, and it becomes this group lift to get people there. And so in many ways, I feel like it's less terrifying to create all these community partnerships for events, because it takes the pressure off. Of course, like, you'll find some business partnerships that you did all the legwork, and then you probably won't work with them again. I've been very fortunate that we've developed a number of really strong partnerships with, like, we have Bar Botanical, which is a vegan restaurant, and they have this beautiful rooftop space, and they love doing events, and they post and they do all the things. So once you find those like go-to partnerships, most of the people in those organizations are like, what do you need? How can we help? I hope that answered your question.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Flannery, I thought of a question.
Yeah.
When you do like I know you said you partner up with one of your coffee shops a lot. Do you host them there, like at the coffee shop? And do you feel like that makes like a better difference for like the event turnout? Because we have a coffee shop right next door to us. It's kind of in a shared like building space, but there's a wall. So it's the bookstore, the coffee shop. Romance Bookstore Day is like one of our biggest events that we have. And we've done it that's like, oh, buy a coffee, buy a book. But I feel like sometimes there's like a disconnect between the two. They'll be like, oh, I don't want to buy coffee. I just want to get a book. So it's like we haven't figured out the rhythm of how to be able to collab like perfectly on that. Do you have any advice on that better way to do it?
So it really depends. For us, it depends on the event, right? For the book festival, we do the events there because, again, the idea is that the events take place at the different locations. But if we want it at the store, because obviously we want people to spend money in the store at the event, we will bring people in. So like I talked about that one wine company. So she'll come in and she'll pour. So anytime you can get somebody to come to the shop, do it. It's really beneficial. And we we usually ask people who are maybe growing in their, new to the business or growing so that they're eager to spread the word. And they're the ones who will be willing to come and do it. We have another coffee shop, Yellow Mug, and they will often provide the coffee, like for the green room for the authors, or they'll provide coffee. Christmas morning, we always have Bloody Marys and coffee, and then we just have black coffee in their branded thermos things. So we really try and focus on the experience of an event. And so what does that look like, and what do we want? You know, there's nothing better than sitting down and listening to someone talk with a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
So how can we make that happen that makes the most sense for both of us?
Yeah. Thank you. Oh my gosh. Great. Thank you so much, Flannery.
You're welcome.
Awesome. Thank y'all so much. Thank you so much to Flannery, Michaela, and Chris. That was so fun, and I'm just so excited about all the incredible work y'all are doing in your bookstores. And thank you, Chris, for dropping the P&L assets in the chat if you want to grab them. And if you want to connect with anybody, with either Flannery, Michaela, and Chris, you can always reach out to ABA Education, and we can connect you if you have any further questions. All right. So that's it for us today. Have wonderful rest of your days, and good luck with the holiday season. I know it's a busy time for booksellers.
Bye.
Good luck, guys.
Thank you for listening to Booked, the bookstore education podcast brought to you by the American Booksellers Association. Don't forget to subscribe to the show on your favorite podcast app. Additional educational resources can always be found on the ABA website at www.bookweb.org. Happy reading!